$782 in food inflation this year.
$260 in relief. And that's all you get.
Okay, Jim. Well, it says it all right off the top.
Right.
This is one of those things that I become very frustrated with. I hate that we create a problem. When I say we, Paul McCucci's going to lose his mind. The federal government creates a problem.
Yes.
That then they throw a solution up like it requires a banner and a parade. And really, it's just adding more cost to the bottom line. It feels like a foolish maneuver.
The official title is called the Canada Groceries and Essentials Benefit. Okay, great. But when you start breaking it down for a married couple over the course of a year, it works out to $17 a week. And I'll take anything I can get. But in today's food inflation, $17 doesn't get you much.
No.
And the problem is...
That's a pack of grapes. That's a bag of
cherries,
grapes.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
But as this goes forward over the next couple of years, Mike, as we're finding out the price of essential items and meat and produce in the grocery store is not going down.
No,
it's anything but. So the impact of it, while the intent may be okay, the impact diminishes over the months and years.
So I guess back in January, Carney announced, okay, the HST rebate's going away. It's being replaced by something with a longer name. And it was fancy. It said basically this is to top you up on groceries and essentials in life. And like you point out, that's about $17. Meanwhile, between here and there, more money committed to many things from our government, but including extraneous expenses such as wars in other countries. This is an $11 billion investment into the hands of Canadians. It's too little, and we've spent way more in other places that have no benefit to our bottom line as Canadians.
And Mike, I see the frustration all the time. My partner and I go to No Frills every week, the 10 days, and we plan out stuff. And you can see people going to the grocery store and saying no. And we were there a few weeks ago, couple in their 50s, looked both professional. The wife picked up a thing of ground beef, looked at the price, just basic ground beef, and said, I'm not paying that, no way, and put it back. And that's something you didn't used to see in Canada. And I'm seeing it more and more, and people are being like, I will not pay this anymore. I will go without this or that. I'll eat something else because it's just they can't justify it.
The other day, I came up with a little poem about the grocery situation, and one day I will share it with you. But there is a part in it where I say that I've chickened out. And I have. I've chickened out, Jim. You see, like I've chickened out. I can't afford lamb. I can't afford any real good quality form of beef.
No.
And even now, I'm starting to chicken out on chicken because...
if it's not on sale, it can be very expensive.
Right. So
very expensive.
When you talk about these basics being covered off, really, we're not getting anywhere at $17 a week. It's not adding to the bottom line. It might help with the kids' lunch a little bit. But even then, not so much. I have to say, we heard about it in January. By February, it was passed.
Yeah.
June 5th, the top-up lands. Okay?
Yes.
So that landed in people. And now, I guess in July, we get another top-up. I guess the enhanced quarterly payment.
Yes.
That used to be the HST payment.
Is now this.
Will now be this. So I have to ask you, the other thing is, how do you feel about this? CRA has just changed the name of the HST rebate system, and they're just plugging this in. So it's almost like they changed the name, but the same system is operating it. Doesn't that seem like a little too obvious or something?
I agree with you. It does. The bottom line is Mark Carney and his ministers to put this together and his staff. We're thinking, soundbite, social media, trying to help Canadians. They keep standing up and saying we are making Canada more affordable than ever. But everyday Canadians are going, no, it's not. The price of gas just got jacked up again. Not their fault, but it did. The price of food is not going down. The price of living is not going down. So for everyday Canadians coast to coast, what they say in front of a microphone, a camera, is not their reality, Mike. It's not.
It is 100% true. And I do hate politicians giving us the picture of who we are. Canadians are here. Canadians have this. Canadians are feeling this. Don't pretend to know.
No.
When you do rebate systems like this, you know, I love this. Many thanks to Liam, by the way, who does great writing. He's given us some stats I'll share with you. But he made me recall the phrase, an arsonist rebate. You started the fire and then you brought the water? Come on.
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing here?
And look, if anyone's social media, they have friends or family that travel, invariably, I'm seeing it a lot. They're in Europe, they're in Asia, they're in other countries, the USA, and they'll take photos in grocery stores just because it's such a touchstone item and it's such a raw nerve in Canada, the price of food, that they'll go to a local market or grocery store and take a photo and compare the prices. And a lot of Canadians go, wait a second, why are these sweet potatoes in Portugal this price? Why? You know what I mean? And I think it's a wonder that at the same time they're giving us this rebate, we'll hear in the news that the Loblaws Corporation, that Sobeys, that whatever, record profits every quarter.
It's incredible.
Every quarter.
When have you ever heard, Loblaws is flat? They're, no, it's always going up.
And they own everything. And so if you can't afford Loblaws, you may go to Superstore. If you can't afford that, you go to No Frills. They like Sobeys owns this and this, and so they own everything.
Well, part of the grocery or the food or the food security, it's called hunger. I want to reiterate, it's called hunger. Okay, it's not food insecurity. Food insecurity is us not having a system by which to get food, which is another problem. But when it comes to just feeding your family, we're talking. It's simply hunger. It's not food insecurity. But part of the strategy for Carney was, okay, we're going to make a more competitive marketplace. We're going to create less groceropolies. Nick, check me on that. Is that correct?
Monopoly on grocery stores? Grocery store monopolies?
Yeah, well, you know what? You make your own word and post it. Nick's reaction, no.
But that's not
correct.
Changed, Mike.
No, it hasn't changed one bit. How could it when we are not creating any sort of any clear runway for another grocery competitor? Wholesale pricing to start a grocery store would be untenable.
Which is why a concept of a government-run grocery store, which has been floated out, everyone's like, whoa, wait, how is that going to work?
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be part of the supply chain and a commerce here in Canada. Maybe in some markets, but the truth is, Jim, if you leave the Greater Toronto area, in Toronto, yeah, you've got Metro, you've got Voila delivering to your house.
Yeah.
You've got the same 3 or 4 standard large companies.
Yeah.
How can another company start in a smaller town at the lease and rent rates that have not come down on commercial? I can tell you that for certain, even though there's so much vacancy. I don't know how that's operating, but it's an impossibility to get into the marketplace. What incentives are we putting out there? What $11 billion is being put out there to say to local grocers, you can do this. You can create farm to table. You can support local farm. You can actually be a competitor in the marketplace because you have access to the supply chain.
I don't know, Mike, because I think a lot of them get scared off. I know our family, we try to visit farmers markets whenever possible, especially this time of year. We adore fresh produce that's been grown in Canada, corn and whatnot, and fruits and vegetables, but that's a limited window.
Oh yeah, that's a fantastic thing, and it's a great community.
That's summer, fall, and then by Thanksgiving, it's over.
But Lang's grocery store in Sudbury, Ontario is a fantasy.
Right.
And I think that's a fantasy we're being sold based on we'll create less competition. Okay, but even if those grocery stores do well, what happens to them as soon as they do well in Sudbury? Lang's gets purchased by Longo's, gets purchased by Fortino's, gets purchased by the Weston family. It doesn't stay outside that loop too long before they start to, and I don't see anything on the books. I mean, I see a law that says, Bill C-19, we're going to give everybody some money back. But I don't see Bill C-20.3, or what, I don't know how they name bills or number them, saying, okay, we're going to create a runway for competition for grocery in this country. Show me that. That's a real strategy.
And Mike, let's face it. This is, the government pronouncement